So yes, hello everyone. I'm gonna explain to you the remaining topics from midterm, and I have to discuss this to you since this is quite not that complicated, but this is an important topic which I should not miss to discuss to you. So, uh, problem one, I have discussed this to you already in the first video, and now I have to discuss to you the CVP sensitivity analysis. So to start with, we have here Land Corporation manufactures and sells a single product that has a retail price of 150 pesos. So selling price is 150 and the unit variable cost is 120, total fixed cost of 900,000. And it expects to sell 50,000 units in the upcoming period. So what are the requirements? Letter A, the contribution margin ratio, the BAP in units, the break-even point in units, and the expected profit in the upcoming period based on the expectation to sell 50,000 units. And letter B, the new CMR, BEP units, and operating profit for the next period if. So this is where our sensitivity analysis comes in. Now, if we have these following changes, what would happen to our CMR, break-even point, and operating profit in the next period? And yes, I have to split this so that we can still see the problem. Okay, so we have the solution. Okay, so we have here the problem is kung nakita nyo class, then the solution for the first question, first requirement, it's the CMR, BEP in units and expected profit in the upcoming period. With this data, now we have the selling price of 150, unit variable cost of 120, total fixed cost of 950,000 units, expected sales in the upcoming period. So for the CMR, first, CMR is the contribution margin ratio. That's 150 of selling price less 120 unit variable cost divided by 150. Since our selling price represents 100%, unit variable cost, we'll see if what's the percentage of unit variable cost. That's around 120 divided by 150. So it's 80%. So our CMR is 20%. Now it's BP in units. So BP in units, we're gonna use the CM in peso per unit. So 150 less 120, it's 30. So we have here 30. And fixed cost of 900,000 divided by 30 nga CM, na contribution margin. So that's 30,000 units. No? So at 30,000 units, the company is at break even where the contribution margin equals fixed cost. So that means your profit is 0. So contribution margin, 50,000 units times 30, that's 1.5 million, less fixed cost of 900,000. So your profit at an expected sales of 50,000 units at the upcoming period is 600,000, no? 50,000 units times 30 nga CM per unit. That's 1.5 million. Buhinan ta fixed cost nga 900,000. So your profit is 600,000. Okay. So sensitivity analysis, I have to share this. Okay. Excel ta class para kitaon. Okay. Okay. Highlight ko lang class para makita nyo ang aton nga gina-answeran. Okay. So, I'm gonna check kung tsakto gid man. Okay ang screen. Ay, okay. Langgit class. Okay. So, okay na na. Kung makita nyo class sa screen. So, we have, I have to make a title, sensitivity analysis. So, sensitivity analysis, if there are some changes on the variables like changes in selling price, unit variable cost, fixed cost, CMR, no, break even. So anong gakatabo sa aton profit? So mo na siya, no, every movement sang aton nga mga items, no, sa aton nga formula, ano ang iya effect sa profit ta. That's the sensitivity analysis. So we have here ang question niya. Then number one is unit sales price increases by 10%. So ang aton nga unit selling price is 150. Ang aton unit variable cost is 120. So aton contribution margin is 150 less 120. This is at ano klasa at original setting, no, tong array 150, 120. Wala pa di changes. So 150. So kung kwaon ta ang percentage para makita nyo 100% percentage na lang class. Then this divide this and we simply subtract. Okay. So unit selling price, it's represents 100%, variable cost is 80%, so your contribution margin is 20%. So ang question niya di, so nakuha tanan no atong if it will expect 50,000 units to be sold in the upcoming period. So next is unit sales price increases by 10%. So I have to copy this. This is scenario number 1. Hindi na klasa. Okay. Number 1 para makita. So unit selling price ako no is nag-increase siya by 10%. So our selling price multiply by 1.10, no, kay nag-increase ta 10%. So we have to add 0.10, no, sa 1. Okay? So 165. Same lang gihapon naton unit variable cost. So aton contribution margin will become 45. Highlight ko class ang every answer. Then 45. New CMR. This is your new CMR. Then BEP in units. So BEP is equal to, your formula in BEP is contribution margin equals contribution margin per unit divided by fixed cost of 900,000. Sakto. Or sala. Suli, class suli. 900,000 divided by your unit variable cost. So it's 20 units. Number. Countang 0. Tanga to the units class. Amo na sa class ha. 20,000 units. Ang imo nga BEP. Then your operating profit for the next period. So diretso ka lang class sa CMR kay kung gusto mo gid makita, sige equals 165 times 50,000 units. So that's 825,000. 8 point that's 8,250,000. I-drag ta lang. Then less kita 900,000 nga fixed cost. Silo to ni class. So, your profit is 1.35 million. Okay. So, if you want to check, that's number one. So, if your selling price increases by 10%, your okay. Your contribution margin per unit will be 45 pesos. Your break-even point in units is 20,000 units. So at 20,000 units, your contribution margin will equal to your fixed cost, and at expected sales of 50,000 units, you will have 1.35 million nga profit with this setting. Now, if you will increase your selling price by 10%. So let's go to number 2. So in number 2, what happens in number 2 is your unit variable cost will decrease by 20%. So I have to copy this. Okay. Now this is your original no, setting. So what happens if you decrease your unit variable cost by 20%? So your unit selling price would still be the same, and your unit variable cost, what will happen? Ma-decrease siya by 20% class ha. So from 120, buhinan ta siya ba 20% nga decrease, so that will become 80%. So 80% of 120. So your new unit variable cost is 96. So na-decrease na ni siya by 20% from 120. By class ha, kailain man na karon maghambal siya nga nag-decrease to 20%. So that's very low na, no? To daw nag 20% na lang sa, no? From 120 to 20% of 120 amo na siya class. Kung by kung ano lang ang nag-decrease sa iya. So your new CM will be 54. Okay, your new CM will be 54 pesos. So next is your BEP in units. So your BEP in units will be, so equals 900,000 nga fixed cost divided by your CM. So that's around 16,667. I-round up the class kay oops equals round. Okay. 16,000. Balik na lang class. General units. Nga gin-round up ko class. Kay when it comes to units, gina-round up ta kay wala man sang decimal point nga units, no? In actual na gid bala klasaw. So that's around 16,667 units. So ang percentage, by the way, the new CMR. CMR, it's the rate, no? Sorry class, wala ko ginkuha ang rate. Kuha ang tadi ang rate liwat. CM lang nakuha ko. CM nga. price gid balahaw. Okay, so 27%. CMR gali CM rate. Okay, so butang tadi sa 96 divided by this, so 64. So your new CMR is 36% when you decrease your unit variable cost by 20%. So your profit will be 150 times 50,000 units. And there you go. So 54 times 50,000 units, your fixed cost of 900,000. And your profit will be 1.8 million. So this is quite higher than the previous scenario, which pasakaan niya 10% ang yung unit selling price. Okay. So that will happen if you decrease your unit variable cost by 20%. So your profit will become 1.8 million. Your CM rate will go up to 36%, and your break-even point will be 16,667 units. Okay, that's for number 2. Let's go to number 3. Copy ko na lang ni tanan class. Okay. So, in number 3, total fixed cost increased to 1.4 million. So, this is still the same. This is still the same. So, your CM will be the same as the original scenario. Amo to siyang wala pa ta naka-sensitivity analysis. The only thing that will change is your fixed cost. So, if you increase your fixed cost to 1.44 million, same contribution margin, it does not change kay wala man class, wala man ara naman si fixed cost sa dalawang class mo, so wala na siya labot. So the unit selling price, unit variable cost, only the fixed cost will change. So the CM rate will still the same, your CM per unit will still be the same, your break-even point in units will still be the same. Only your profit will decrease to 60,000 kay nag-increase ang imong fixed cost. Okay? And no, your BEP units will change kay dire instead of this ma 1.4 million na ni siya. Sorry class, wala ko na nakita. So 48,000 units na mo break-even point. So you have to sell 48,000 units nga maka-break-even point ka. No? So nagsaka. Kay nga aman class, nagdako imo fixed cost. So meaning you have to sell more to cover that fixed cost no nga 1.4 million. So layo siya sa 900,000. So ayawan kagid man ni sa lagas kung magbaligya-anay na. And number 4. Okay, this is number 3. And number 4. Number 4 is the number of units sold increases to 65,000. So balik ta sa original nga fixed cost. Ang ma-change lang di class is ang are. No? Ang unit selling price ta same lang, variable cost ta same lang, CMR ta same man gihapon, aton break even in units balik ta sa 900,000. So same man gihapon. Only naghambal siya nga ang number of units sold kuno increases to 65. So our original units to be sold in the upcoming period is 50,000. So what if we will sell 65,000 units in the upcoming period? What will happen? this will become 65,000 units. 65,000. So of course, mas may increase siya class. No, kay nagdamo imo ginbaligya. So even though magdamo mo baligya with the same setup, the same man gyapon imo selling price, imo unit variable cost, your CMR, your unit variable rate, variable cost rate, your selling price is still the same. Your BEP would still be the same. Okay, wala man nag-change atong fixed cost. Only our profit mula ng iyang movement. Kung units lang ang ma-increase or decrease. And last is unit sales price decreases by 4 pesos, unit variable cost decreases by 10%, total fixed cost increase by 100%. So, okay. Si Santa. Hambalya. Hambalya ko no. Unit sales price decreases by 4. So, nagnubo by 4. So, mabuhin ta 4 pesos sa 150. Unit variable cost, Malya is decreases by 10%. So, from 120, decrease siya by 10%, 90% na lang. So, 120 times 0.9. So, this is your new contribution margin, 38 pesos. That's 26%. No? And Hambalya is unit sales price. So there is no change in number of units to be sold. So let's go back to 50,000 units. And Hambalya, total fixed cost increased by 100,000. So from 100,000, increase anta by 100,000, this will become 1 million. Okay, check tani. 100,000, C50. Okay. This will become 1 million. Okay. Kung check nyo sa inyong module. So your CM per unit will become 38 pesos, right? 26% ang imong CM ratio. Your BEP units will be 26,316 units and your profit will become 900,000. If you decrease your selling price by 4, you decrease your unit variable cost by 10%, and you increase your fixed cost by 100,000. Okay, so we are done with the sensitivity analysis, no? Muto class, kung diin siya ma-change, what will happen to your profit? Like for example, my question being if you increase the number of units sold, what will happen to your unit selling price? So nothing, no? It does not even though mo ng mga question class no do mga palingin nga question for example, pero wala man na siya nagwa sa exam. Okay, so anyway, tapos na inyo exam. Just to explain this to you and to clear up some hindi clear nga mga topics bala class sa module nga wala ko na-discuss. So, I'm discussing this to you. Next is the sales mix. So, I have to make another sheet for this sales mix. So, sa sales mix, our previous examples consist only of one product. No? So one product, one selling price, one unit variable cost, one CM, one contribution margin, and contribution margin rate daw man sa class. Pero sa sales mix, ang company is nagabaligya kita dire more than one variety of products. So ano ang iyang like how to compute the CMR no in whole kag kung paano ko ginakwa ang CMR or ang ilang weighted contribution margin per unit, no? And paano ang sharing sang fixed cost? So sales mix. So we have your example. Baguio Corporation produces 3 products, D, E, and F with the following related data. So for D, E, and F, we have the following sales price, unit variable cost, and sales mix in units, and total fixed cost is 800,000. Okay, question is weighted average unit contribution margin, composite break-even point in units, and allocation of contribution break-even point. Composite break-even point, composite break-even point in pesos, sales per mix, and composite break-even point, and so on. Okay, so weighted average contribution margin per unit. So we have here, saylo ni Danay, isaylo ni siya Danay. Nataon ta kung masaylo ta. Isaylo ta Danay ang data para hapos makita. Okay. Kuhaan ko P class para pwede siya ma-formula. Okay. First yung question is weighted average unit contribution margin. So our solution would be, we have here weighted average contribution margin. So, di ba may CM siya isa-isa? So we have to copy this para makuha ta. So contribution, makuha ta dala ang contribution nila isa-isa. Na sa class magkuha. And we have here 120 and this. So contribution margin ni D is 80, contribution margin ni E is 30, contribution margin ni F is 30. However, diri sa aton nga problem, may sales mix in units sa. So we have to we have to use ratio and proportion, no? So for example, total sini is 2 plus 5 plus 3 is 10. So sa 10 units in total nga ma-produce ni Baguio Corporation, 2 units is D, 5 units is E, and F unit and 3 units for F, no? So, for example, sa 10 niya nga ma-produce, amo na ang allocation sa tatlo ka product. So, amo na sa klase nga ginakuha nato ng weighted average unit contribution margin. So, wala kita diri ga stop if nakuha ta na ang contribution margins ang isa-isa. Kay we have sales mix nga ginhatag sang company, no? Amo na ang ilang daw ka mixture bala class combination of products na gina-produce nila, no? So, we have to make a proportion. Ginabutang ko lang ang term. So, proportion would be, since 2 plus 5 plus 3 is 10, so ang iyang proportion is 2 divide 10. So, 2 divide 10. Okay nga, naka-date na siya. Yeah. So, 2, 5, 3. Nga, naka-date na siya. Okay. Equals. Inamo ko na lang na class. So, 2 divide 10, 20%. Uh-oh. Ito na lang na o ah. Then, multiply ta ni class sa iyang contribution margin. So, amula na siya ka-simple ang weighted average unit contribution margin. Okay. So, 16 pesos for D. For E is 15 pesos. 16 pesos for D, 15 units for E, and 9 pesos for F. So, that's the weighted average unit contribution margin. Composite break-even point in units. So composite break-even point in units. So your break-even weighted average contribution margin. Total of this is total takas 40. Okay, take note of this Lainan ko color para makita siya. Question niya is composite break-even units and allocation of composite break-even point. So number 2, it's unta danay ang composite break-even points. Composite break-even points is ang kabilugan, no? Ang break-even point using the weighted average unit contribution margin in total. That's why nga total ko ang 40. So your composite break-even point is equal to your fixed cost. No, break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution margin class mo. So there is fixed cost divided by weighted average unit contribution margin. That is your composite break-even point in units. So divided by 40. So that's around 20,000 units. Ang imo nga composite break-even point. Composite is ang kabilugan class. Composite break-even point in units. Highlight then color. Then, allocation niya. So, allocation, so DEF, it's 20,000 times ang iya nga ratio and ang proportion niya class, that's 20%. Kay E is 50% and kay F is okay. So, composite break-even point in units, si company makaproduce si Baguio Corporation 20,000 units, break-even siya. So, ang buot niya silingon sini sang allocation sang break-even point in units is pila ka units ibaligya mo kay D, pila ka units ibaligya mo kay E, kag pila ka units ibaligya mo kay F. I-total mo na sila nga tatlo, that's 20,000, you are in break-even. So, if magbaligya ka 4,000 ni D, 10,000 ni E, 6,000 ni F, you are at break-even. Total mo ni sila, that is 20,000 units. So, na sa class, no? If you have multiple products that you sell. So, that is how you compute your composite break-even point and its allocation. Composite break-even point in pesos. So, composite break-even point in pesos, inakuha na di si 370, 60. Weighted average unit selling price. Okay. So, since ARI class is weighted average unit contribution margin, paano takwaon ang weighted average siya nga percentage, no? Muna sa class. So, are, nahimo ko separate nga line. Kuha ta ni, kinakuha ta naman ng proportion. Copy ko ni Danay as number para hindi siya mag-move. Okay. Di ba mo na ni siya ang imong weighted average. Okay. So, are per total. No, na total na siya, no? Using this no percentage. So, ang selling price ta kagangaton nga ang selling price ta para makuha ta ang rate no class no sa ngari kung pilang rate ya. So hindi ta man pwede nga ini naka ano siya bay? Naka ratio and naka multiply na siya sa ratio ya no sa sales mix. So hindi man pwede nga ini wala naka ratio. So we have to put this we have to convert our unit selling price in which gina-reflect ya ang sales mix. Okay? So, ano ko na lang class ha, isang ko lang ka formula. So, 200 pesos times 20%. Kaya mo na iya nga sales mix plus 50 times 50% plus 120 times 30%. So your weighted average unit selling price is 101. Amo na sa klase niyo module nga may 101 na da. Okay? So that's your weighted average unit selling price. Amo na siya, paano siya ginkwa? So, pwede ta na makuha ang percentage ni 40 non weighted average unit contribution margin kay nakuha ta na ang weighted average unit selling price. Excuse me. So that's around 39.6%. Okay. Kay gusto ya maano gid. That's around 50. So kung gusto niyo makita, ara class. Naka-round siya. Okay. Anyway, so gina-round up ya 40% pero sa inyo module is 39.6. No. So, question niya gani, ano to? It's the composite break-even point in pesos. Since ako mo na ang weighted average contribution margin, you only have to compute for the break-even point. So, composite break-even point in pesos. So, equals your fixed cost of how much ganin yung fixed cost class? 800,000 divided by 40. So, that's 2 million pesos sa inta class. Okay. So, 2.020. Muna sa class. Nag 2.020 million na da siya. 2,020,000. Okay. Next is sales per mix and composite break-even point. So, actually, gina-multiply naman lang ni siya sa percentages siya. No? Composite unit. Ginalantaw ko class kung paano pag siya ma-shortcut. So, nakuha ta na ang contribution. So, your contribution composite break-even point in units is 20,000. Yeah, sales per mix, nakuha ta na. Muto siyang 4,000, 10,000, and 6,000. Right? Okay. $800,000. I think I made a mistake na sa 400. 2,000. Tsakto man class. See, yes. Nakita ko na class. So, erase nyo lang ang isa ka zero class. Sorry. This is 2,000. No. So, diri, it's your kapitani. And diri. No. So, wala ni naka-weighted average class ha. Ang ginhimo iya is gin-multiply sa sales mix. Kaya sales per mix and composite break-even point. Okay. So, your sales mix, multiply ta. It's 2 units, 5 units, and 3 units. Ginhimo iya is gin-multiply naton ang number of sales mix sa aton contribution margin. So, this is 80. So, 160 Okay, mo niya nga contribution margin, no, sa tanan-tanan. And kung i-total ta, 400 pesos, no? So, sales per mix and composite break-even point. 400 pesos, ang aton fixed cost, ang aton nga composite break-even point. Equals, pila natin fixed cost, it's 800,000 divided by your contribution margin, no, per total, that's 2,000 units. 2,000 units ang iyang what you call this, paano ko ni siya explain sa inyo man. Ang contribution sang isa-isa, then gin-multiply sa sales mix yaman kada isa-isa. So you have your total contribution margin. Kabudla siya i-put into words class ang explanation. So, 2,000 units. Composite contribution, that's contribution, composite break-even point in units. So, 2,000. Then, for D, E, and F, so 2,000 times 2. So, around 20%. Ga-share 20%. Si D sa total nga production. Compute ko na class. 2,000 times 5 equals 2,000 times 3. Okay. Muto sa class nga may 20,000 units siya. Nan. Nagbalik man lang ta class diri. No? Nan. Gusto niya lang gidya makita. Okay. How? Amo na class oh. Ining sales mix, ga-represent ni siya class sang duka, di man siya nga percentage kiti naka whole number. Ginambala lang, for example, di ba? Gina-total tani. So ang total sini represents 100%, di ba? So sa 100% naton nga production, si D is 20%, si E is 50%, and si F is 30%. So amo to ka gina-explain ko, amo ni siyang mga percentages ya. In which we come up na sang una pa lang sang sales mix, ang sales per mix, no, nga 4,000, 10,000, kag 6,000. At this level of production in each product, maka-break even kita. So, amo man ni class ang ginhimo dire. Ang ginhimo dire is, ginkuha ang contribution margin isa-isa, kag gin-multiply sa sales mix. Sales mix nga wala naka-percentage, right? Direya is naka-percentage na class, amo to kagina. No, ang iya nga ratio. No, since ratio naka-percentage dire, wala iya gin percentage, di ba? Ginbalik ya lang taliwat sa question sa babaw. Okay. So gin total ya de. Total ya is 400. Same man dire sa natabo. No? So here, ang iyang ang tawag ya dire is sales, no. This is the unit contribution margin, composite contribution margin. Diria is weighted average unit contribution margin. That's why nga naging percentage naton. Kay we use the weighted average contribution margin. Diria is the composite contribution margin. When we speak of composite contribution margin, unit contribution margin is naggamit kita na sang total, no? Total ta class, wala tagin percentage class ha. Kay once we use the percentage, ang tawag yada is the weighted average unit contribution margin. That is why same lang gihapon ang aton nga answer, no? When we use the weighted average unit contribution margin and the composite unit contribution margin, we will still derive at the same number of units in which we will be at break-even point, no? So this is your contribution, composite break-even point in units. Same lang tagyapon. That's 2,000. Pero we have to multiply this to the sales mix, no? To arrive at break-even point in units in each product. So that is why nga dire multiply naton sa 2 ang iyang sales mix, dire 5, dire is 3. Total naton, this is 20,000 units. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, wala yagin sabat ang number of units if the firm wants a profit of 40,000. Okay. If the firm wants a profit of 40,000, pila ang iya nga baligya. So wala siya nagbutang answer. Okay, may ano tay answeran ta. Wala ni sa class. It's 800,000 plus 40,000. No. Yes, 40,000 nga class. Compute ko danay. Okay. Muna class oh. Nga gin-add, let's look at the formula bar. Nga gin-add ko si 40,000 nga figure. Gusto ta 'di ba? Hambalya is gusto ya magka-profit nga 40,000. Iya nga gusto. 'Di ba at break-even point 0 aton profit, no? Break-even point. Gigamit ko break-even point in units. At break-even point 0 aton profit. Ang aton formula sa break-even point is your fixed cost divided by your contribution margin. Gin-add ko si 40,000 sa fixed cost kay that is our desired profit. So pila ato ni baligya if may desired profit kita nga 40,000, that is why gin-add ko si desired profit kay fixed cost. No, divided by isang CM nga 400. No? Kay if you want to check, we have this contribution, composite break-even point in units of 2,100. So for D, E, and F, so equals 2 times 2 nga sales mix. So mas-sell siya 4,200 times 5 nga sales mix for E times 3 nga sales mix kay F. Okay. So kung i-total ta ni equals it needs to sell 21,000 units. Okay? 21,000 units ang iya ibaligya. Para magka-profit siya nga 40,000. Kung gusto nimo i-check, sige, aton i-check. Oh. Equals kini D 4,200 units, 10,500 and 6,300. Oh, follow lang class ha. Diri kita tulo class. Highlight ko. Oh. This is units sold equals CM. Okay, contribution margin in pesos ni class ha. Kung i-total mo ni this is 100%. Less name mo ang fixed cost. Profit. 40,000. Okay na. Muna sa class. No. Magambal makakita ka mo gani nga kung gusto ya magka amo ni nga profit, add nyo lang class sa iya nga fixed cost divided by gamiton nyo lang class ang break even point nga formula, no, i-add nyo da si desired profit kay kay fixed cost divided by sa inyong contribution margin. Amo na siyang number of units sold in order to have that desired profit. So that is the shortcut. So muna siya class ang iya nga checking. Okay, so operating leverage. I think this is the last na kon nga utang sa inyo. Okay. Degree of operating leverage. We have here David Corporation discloses the following data relative to its product Girata for its 2020 operations. So it has a contribution margin. Reklasa follow lang sa concursor. Contribution margin 40,000 units times 50, that's 2 million. Total fixed costs and expenses 1.2 and the CM ratio is 40%. Okay. Same lang ni siya sa ang TOL is somewhat like ang iyang approach is to ang iyang sensitivity analysis. We'll see, we'll see. Anyway, hindi ko na siya pag-split class Kitaon naman tanan. Okay. So DOL is degree of operating leverage. Okay, your DOL, formula ta sa DOL is your CM divided by DOL equals CM divided by EBIT. EBIT is earnings before interest and taxes. So hambalya, CM is 2 million, fixed cost is 1.2, and CM ratio is 40%. So your CM is 2 million. Class gamit ta Japon Selling price, variable cost, contribution margin. Miss, wala man miss na nahatag nga data. We can derive at that. Bisan tatlo lang ginatag ya. So, ang balya, So, per unit, tadanay ha. So, contribution margin is 50 pesos. So, variable cost is, if this is 40%, hambalya, CM ratio. That means your variable cost is 60%. And your, of course, selling price is 100%. So 50 times 60, therefore your CM is 20, which represents 40%. Okay. So muna sa class. Then, degree of operating leverage. Okay. So 50, okay, 50 times 40 para makita nyo with class 40,000 units. Same with this. Okay. Muna siya. 2 million. Ay, no, 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 no. No, 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 no way. Sala, miss. This is 50 equals divide 0.4. Okay. Ako gusto niya i-check class. Miss ay, sorry. Equals. No. 60%. Tuman. Checking ta. Sakto. Sakto Miss, paano mo tumisin ko? Ario. Ang valya ko no is CM ratio is 40%. That means our variable cost ratio is 60%. Our selling price is 100%. Ang given niya is contribution margin per unit nga 50. No? So 50% represents 40%. So para makuha mo ang 100%, ang 50 pesos divide mo sa 40%, makuha mo yung 100%. So from that, makuha mo yung selling price. So selling price is your CM divided by 40% nga gina-represent niya. So nakuha mo yung 100%. That means 125 years. If your selling price 100%, waon mo si 60% ni 125, makuha mo si 75 nga variable cost. So if you want to check 125 less 75, that's 50. Amo na sa class mag work back kita. So, diri nakita ta nga ang aton CM is 2 million. So, degree of operating leverage. Okay. Your fixed costs and expenses. Less pila, 1.2. Then your EBIT. No, wala man ta interest, wala man ta taxes. So, ngalanan ta na si EBIT or si operating income. Kay class, wala ta din naggamit operating income kay usually base maglingan ng ulo nyo. Kay usually si operating income, net operating income, si interest and taxes nabuhin na nada. Pero for purposes of discussion, gamiton ta danay si EBIT in which pwede man ta di ka gamit operating income kay galing base maglingan ng inyo ulo no class no. So EBIT lang na naton gamiton. So 1.88 million. Ang imo nga EBIT. DOL is equals your CM divided by EBIT. So 1.06. Why? Miss kay 120 lang. Okay. Okay, ara na 2.5. Okay. Ay, gusto ko na magklase face to face. Then what would be the percentage increase in profit before tax if sales are expected to increase by 40%? Kung pwede ito ni ano tawag sini? Ma-shortcut. Hambalya is percentage change in EBIT is equal to percentage change in sales times the DOL. See. Pila ko no ang percentage nga increase ni profit if may 40% kita nga increase sa aton nga expected sales. Si DOL class ginagamit ta ni ang iyang can I explain that to you in Ilonggo, but we have to go back if anong buot silingon ni DOL. Degree of operating leverage. Variable costing model. Okay, wala. I think na discuss ko sa inyo sang prelim. Wala bala miss. Okay. Anyway. Degree of operating leverage. So, ano siya class? Do somewhat like the multiplier siya. No? In muna siyang how sensitive is the profit if there are changes. Same with sensitivity analysis class, no? Si DOL, somewhat like siya ni ang do ka multiplier in which in every percentage change sa selling price, variable cost, and contribution margin, siya ni ang multiplier, no? Para mabalaan mo kung pila bala class ang change kay profit, no? Do diri siya naga-focus. Pila change ni profit if may change kita sa selling price, may change kita sa variable cost, may change kita sa contribution margin. So, amo na si DOL. So, like sensitivity analysis man sa class, no? Pero ga-focus lang sa iyang operating income. So, the question niya, what would be the percentage increase in profit before tax if sales are expected to increase by 40%? So, percentage change in EBIT or your profit is equal to percentage change in sales times the DOL. That's why nakita tadi nga si DOL gin-multiply, no? So, anong matabo kay profit if ma-increase ta by 40% kay selling price? So, diretso ta lang class, 40% times 2.5. So, ma-increase siya by 100%. Kung gusto nyo class mabalaan, no? Butang tadibi, it's 40% increase in sales. In units ni class times 1.4. D5 times. Kay naka-caps lock. Dahil 7 million. Same man gihapon. Tabla class. Ang effect ya. Nag 1.6. So, if you wanna check, ari class, paano na-miss na kwa? Diba nag-increase ta 40% sa number of units. So, that means ma-increase ang imo nga sales, ma-increase man imo variable cost kay naghambal sa nga nag-increase ka 40% in sales, no? Sales class nagpasaka ka sales. Lain ang istorya if naghambal siya if nagsaka ang selling price kay wala na yung class effect kay variable cost or kay contribution margin. For So, mo to sa class, no? So, that is why gin-multiply tatanan sa 1.4. No? Si variable cost, si selling price, kag si contribution margin. Kaya ang gina-istoryahan tadi is nag-increase iya nga sales, not the selling price. Okay? Lain na iya class si selling price. Kasi selling price ya, presyo yang ginpasaka mo. So, kung nagsaka imo presyo, masaka man imo sales, no? Pero imo nga variable cost, wala. Kay wala na labot si variable cost sa pagsaka sang selling price mo. May labot na si variable cost if magsaka imo number of units. Diba mo to nga kung magsaka imo nga number of units sold, your variable cost is directly proportional to it. Okay, kung magdamo imo production, damo man imo nga variable cost nga ginagamit sa class. So diri, di ba 100% to kuno ang iya nga change in EBIT. So from 800,000 to 1.6, that's around 800,000 nga difference. That's 100% nga increase. Okay? So if the firm wants to increase its DOL to 4.0, how much should be the needed increase in fixed costs assuming the contribution margin is still the same? Gusto ya ko no mag 4. Okay. CM, it's EBIT. Okay, class. DOL is CM over EBIT. Mangkot sa gusto niya mag-increase 4.0 in 2020. Okay, DOL version 4.0. How much should be the needed increase in fixed costs assuming the contribution margin is still the same? Okay. So your EBIT is unknown and your CM is still the same. Okay. So 4.0 ari klaso. Algebra sa classroom yung napaminsa ko paano ko siya i-ano sa Excel nga makita nyo. So yung contribution margin is still the same. So 2 million man gihapon. Pwede nyo man class mental. Mental math 2 million divided by 4. So 500,000. So hindi siya mag-increase. Huh? Oh, increase in fixed cost. So 500,000 ang iya nga i-increase, iya nga i-decrease. Right? No, amo ni mo EBIT. Ang EBIT mo will become 500,000. Mani klaso. Pareho. CM para makita nyo class EBIT. Merge. Hindi ko makita si merge. Din si merge. Ah. Okay, class. I'm taking so long. DOL. Sige, dire na lang ko ma-explain yan. So, word. Amo ni sa class. If the firm wants to increase its DOL 4.0, how much should be the needed increase? Are. DOL is equal to your CM divided by EBIT. Reconstruct class. Kung i-reconstruct mo ang formula, it will become EBIT is equal to CM divided by DOL. Amo to siya nga gusto ko i-present sa Excel para makita nyo. Inyo share ko. Okay. Di ba mo ni? Kita ko na si merge. Kauti sa ako na mo ni class kadugay ko. Oh. Di ba mo ni siyang formula? DOLCM divided by EBIT. Dayon, 4 ang iya DOL. 4 iya DOL. CM ya ko no is same lang. So, that's 2 million. Over X. Okay. Ay, kabudlay. Gid class ko hindi blackboard. Oh. Arek class oh. 2 million. So, for your DOL, CM is 2 million. EBIT is X. Diba sa algebra, mag-amune, gina-cross multiply ta. So, ang matabo sini is, wala na naman, gin-merge ni Miss over 1. Ipakita ko gini class. Therefore, X equals 2 million. Amo to class nga ang iya EBIT. So, 2 million divided by 4. Would like class wala whiteboard. 500,000 imo EBIT. Okay? Kabay pa naka-follow ka mo class. Kabalo ko iban sa inyo, kabalo naman eh, naka-answer sa activity. Okay. Then, okay. Your new EBIT. Ari class. Okay. Follow lang class ha. Kaya tani ah. Ang, di ba mo siyang original? No, kung maano ta. Para makita gid balahaw. Oh. Same lang ni gyapon retain ko ni. Pero ari may 500,000 na sa. Oh. If you love me, don't let go. Pila ko no ang fixed cost ya. Diba ma 4.0 si DOL. So nakuha ta na EBIT, contribution margin ta maman gyapon. So that means your 2 million less 500, your new fixed cost is 1.5. So pila ang iyang i-increase? That's 300,000. Amo na class. Mutong sa, I think wala ko na share. Okay. So muna 300,000 ang i-increase in fixed cost from 1.2 nag 1.5. No? With this formula. Okay, so hope you get something from this discussion, even though medyo kagamo. You can watch all over again. Just don't look at my face. Just listen, look at the screen and listen to my voice. And yes, that's all. So wala na kutang sa inyo sa midterm, only in pre-finals nga topic. I'll do my best if I could record another video for tonight because I have another subject to be discussed at this moment. So thank you again, and hope you're having a good time. And if you have questions, you can post it on our group chat. So thank you very much and have a nice day ahead.